Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How you doing, pal?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's Sunday. I
And I
think
should
it's
add that it might be not be an exciting time right now. There's an off season, but we are at least giving you real news or real information, not this fake, you know, what do you call it,
Jake.
clickbait crap. It's one a
Yeah,
buck.
it sounds like Jakey Poo. You've been caught out and all some old clickbait shit, have you?
I just look at it and go, this is just BS because then it's bad for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
get you.
I've seen where the Yamaha's running, and it doesn't exist yet.
Oh,
Riders have been on it. No, they haven't. It's sitting on a bench. You know this, and it's
I would say some writers have been on it, but no one's going to publicly come out and say it's
yeah,
crap.
yeah,
Do you know
you
what I
know,
mean? Or no one it's yeah, it's tough to deal with these things. You know what I mean? And before we get into it, I do need to say to El Capitan, yes, I will get back to you, and we will definitely 100% have you on the podcast for sure. I just need to sort myself out. I'm terrible for replying to people sometimes. My apologies, but we will definitely get you on.
he's a hard worker, folks. He just has 3 jobs.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? So yeah, look, we have not so long to go. I know it's pretty difficult right now. Like at the end of the day, what is it? It's well, today is the 13th. It's the 12th. We're shooting the video, but Jan 31 to Feb 2nd, we have the shakedown test. So it will be good to think. So the drought is nearly over, and I haven't resorted to the old gimmick of doing season reviews. You always know you're in trouble for content when you go to do season reviews, or I want to take some time off. Like mid-season reviews would be like I will shoot majority of them in 2 days and then have 10 days off. We're not having to create a video. It's great, but no. I suppose some of the stuff around and like just to touch again on KTM, and I know Jake, you're going to turn around and tell me, Joe, this it's business and this and life goes on, but I still, Pit Buyer has come out and said, oh, we will be here after beyond 2026, and you know, and look, this is just me the way I am, right? I'm like, shut up about 2026 and beyond, right? Do you know what I mean? Sort your
Yeah,
fucking problems now, right? Like you have staff there that you haven't paid, yet
yeah.
you're excited about building bikes for next week to go racing, right? That morally doesn't sit right with me, right? You know what I mean? I get it. It is business. It's a marketing tool. It's within the budget. It's low, but I think, but still, like, and then like the bikes are due to be built this week, apparently for all of the riders. But when I kind of look at it, I'm just like, you know, realistically, what could we expect from KTM this season? Like, we cannot expect KTM to be able to develop. Okay, the engine is frozen, right?
Yeah.
Mechanical development is not that expensive, but is fucking outrageously expensive. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
And
electronics is outrageous expensive.
it, it,
Both.
it is, but an awful lot of that is software and like, do you know what I mean? It is engineers, but like still saying that it is not a patch on running a wind tunnel for a couple of hours. If you
You
get
just
me
don't
right.
like Arrow. Yeah, he's old bastard. Yeah.
It's not it's like all I'm saying is that I don't believe that KTM will be able to develop throughout the season. They're just
No,
not going to be able to
I don't
afford
care.
it.
Yeah, in this situation, I don't care. It's not anything in particular that's going to hinder him. It's the whole project's going to hinder him. The cost.
Exactly, and that's what I'm thinking. And it was kind of one of those kind of moments that came to me. It was like, I wouldn't rule out the bike they start the year on will be near identical to the bike that they finish the year on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, that is a major, major problem. And you can kind of see, like I did report a couple of months ago, Ducati have already talked to Acosta.
Yeah, that makes sense all day. And Acosta would be a fool to go anywhere else.
But yeah, but like what my point here is like, and let's just hypothetically talk about this, right? Okay, they won't have a place for him in the factory team for 2 years. Okay. What is not to say that they're already lining him up to put him into Grassini?
Yeah. Yep.
Give him a factory bike or give him last year's bike. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the difference between bikes in 25, 26 is going to be minimal. Do you know what I mean? Like if 25's bike is fast enough,
Yeah.
that's going to be the exact same bike going into 26. 26 is going to be like the leanest year of spend ever because all resources realistically are going towards 27.
Yeah, reuse those bolts. We can use
Yeah.
them twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Show those one-time bolts. You could use it twice.
I remember they actually said, you don't have to. You can use a handlebar twice. And I'm going, after a crash, that would suck. I don't know.
Now, what I also do know about KTM at the moment is that the current senior leadership are in somewhere in the Middle East. Because what has happened with KTM is that Citibank in America have been charged with getting them investors. Now, some of those investors are already in there, but my understanding is that a good few of them. So one of them is CF Moto, so they do own CF Moto. Do have a stakeholding already in KTM. I heard also, is it Baja?
Baja. But
Yeah.
Baja bought into them originally.
Yeah. So India, CF Moto from China, and Fountain Vest from Hong Kong are kind of the three main ones that are going to be looking into it. Now, don't get me wrong. This looks very, very promising for KTM to get out of it. Of course they're going to try and write down as much of the debt outstanding. So
KTM sales have been rocking and rolling. By the way, that's the odd part of that is.
Yeah. Well, you have that normal knee jerk action of like, oh fuck, KTM is going to go bang. I need to get one. It's just me before they're gone. Do you know what I mean?
Usually it would be the other way around. Usually it's
yeah, but
don't buy one.
It's like one of those iconic brands. Do you know what I mean? KTM is one of those iconic brands. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, this might be my only chance to get a KTM. Do you know what I mean? But look, saying that.
Oh yeah, no one's questioning whether I was surprised. No one's questioning that somebody's going to pick up MV. They're like, oh, somebody's going to pick up MV, especially with CF Moto already had bought the rights to the F4 engine generation 1 bike. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense for them to buy the other ones.
Look, I'm very confident with the likes of Citibank. I'm not an investor by any means, shape, or form, but the fact that they've gone to one of the big banks where there is a lot of money floating around, they know people. It sounds like a good tune to be singing. Do you know what I mean? So now, obviously, the problem with this and investing or getting investors in and whatever, it's the same as having guests in your house and fish.
Yes.
After 3 days they all stink, right? So and like I would think obviously Pierre Mobility's shareholding will go down with these investing and the ethos of the DNA and all of these things that make KTM will be slightly diluted, let's just call it. But saying that, It does look quite good that they will be around. Just what sort of capacity are they going to be in is the next thing.
Oh, can I let the cat out of the bag?
Hmm.
Can I let the cat out of the bag? We were
Who's
talking about
back?
the Honda has to they're taking on Mitsubishi and Nissan.
Mitsubishi. Yeah.
Yes, which is the Honda is already in debt $55 billion, and they're taking on another $9 billion. They're not going to go bankrupt. They're not going to go, the road's going to stay the same,
Mhm.
except for one thing. It's going to be evolution. You're not going to find. They say they're not going to find new bikes. You know what I mean? You're not going to anything new coming out. And, we call it. It's going to be evolution, not revolution, even in the
Yeah.
racing.
Yeah. Well, look. We know the latest Honda coming out is an evolution. It's not a revolution. We do.
Before.
Yeah, so that's kind of not so much news, let's just say. But yeah, it's.
But that put the icing on the cake for that. You knew that's going to last a couple of years at least.
It
And
is.
one thing I didn't let out of the bag for you, even with you, guess who was down $1 billion?
Who?
Suzuki again.
Losing money again?
Yeah, yeah. Their sales increased, but they went under for another $1 billion. It's like, now I didn't look into everything. It's all over Google, so don't hold me to exact numbers.
It kind of smells of paying back a loan, to be fair.
They got enough.
My money's got down. Yeah.
They got enough. No, I know they have. I know they said for what they have bikes that are just stockpiling in warehouses. Tons of them, thousands of them.
Yeah. Also, I suppose this week,
Ducati made money.
And I haven't done a video on it, but I find it very strange. Ine Bastianini has parted company with Carlo Pernat, who was his manager for 10 years and has gone to this new London-based company. I can't think of the name of them now off the top of my head, but I think it's MSS or MSM or something like that, which I find very... I do find it weird. Now, look, realistically, I probably think...
You think the brightest bulb in the box. So...
Well, there is that, but I think realistically where it is I think it's a bit of a fallout of the KTM decision.
Yeah. Yeah, quite that, yeah.
I genuinely think that Pernat blew his load, got him into KTM, and I think Aprilia actually wanted him. Like, I think, if I'm very honest, I think Bezzecchi would have either stayed in VR46 or gone to Aprilia or Trackhouse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even Bastianini went to Trackhouse on works equipment. But it's very weird. Like a 10-year relationship, he's brought him through all the things, and and there's no major update into the why. I can only think that it's to do that he blew his load a little bit early, and yeah, it's just a little bit weird, because 10 years, and Pernat is probably one of the better managers out there in the terms of influence over the teams. Like, do you know what I mean?
He's been in there for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so I find it a little bit interesting. Yeah, it's a bit weird what's going on.
No, another thing I looked at when we were looking up when they were talking FNN, what's killing these companies? All the car companies are billions of dollars in debt. They don't care which one it is. Toyota's number one, by the way, for loss. They're at 570 or 700 million. They're like a small country in debt. Okay. is electronics. The EVs, these electronic cars. The more they got into the electronic cars, everything's a loss. Nobody made a dime off that thing. It's been a huge, faux pas. I guess you would call it. Hard to call it a faux pas when you lose billions, though.
Yeah. Look, I suppose there's a couple of things going on with that. Like EVs, if you own an EV, do you experience cheaper driving? You do, massively. Are the cars a little bit more expensive? They are. And there's the problem with EVs is that there was a mad push with governments, and then the charging infrastructure wasn't there, right?
Like I say, by the way, here it doesn't make a difference. They're about flat.
How do you mean?
For the cost of having an electronic car.
No, you get
like electricity to hook it up in your house costs a fortune.
Well, it's like 600 quid or something to get
where you're at. I'm saying where I'm at.
No.
Yeah, I know that. I'm here. Yeah.
No, but I do know the megawatt rate in the States. So
I don't have one.
Just do.
I've read it. Everything I've read it said they're dead even. One half dozen or the other.
Not on range and mileage. No, they'd never be. Like, well, I suppose maybe your fuel is a bit cheaper than our thing, but like I build and maintain these high power chargers. Let's just call it. So, yeah, I understand how these things
right.
work. But like, if you're charging in a public place, yeah, it's pretty expensive. If you're charging at home, like to half fill a normal petrol powered car here, you're talking 50, 60 quid to get 400, 500, 600 kilometers. Say 40 quid, just say. To do it, to get like 4 or 5.
Gas is like ungodly expensive.
Yeah, like it's like 160 something, €1.60.
Oh, there's the difference. Your gas is really expensive.
So yeah, so for us here, then it's, I think it's the last time I checked, it was like €7 to fill. So what I would spend €40 on petrol, it cost me €7 for the EV. Now, look, again, it floats people's boats. I like driving. I have an EV for work. I like driving it, and the reason I like driving it is because I can left foot brake. Not a lot of people can left foot brake, just by the way. Next time you're in your car, try it for the laugh.
9 out of 10 people say they're good car drivers. I'm that 10th guy. Get the hell away from me.
Yeah.
More than you right now.
Yeah, but no, look, I pretty much I enjoy it, but yeah, listen, I do miss the the stick shift as well. You know what I mean, as you call it over there, or driving a manual car.
You don't do that here anymore.
Oh yeah, it's more expensive to get a manual car there, isn't it? And here it's more expensive to get an automatic, so which is kind of funny.
You know what's funny? You get it's an option to get a manual transmission, but then it's also they'll have some of them they have it's an option to get a transmission. Period. Like it's an option to get an automatic and it's an option to get a manual.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's just like your option. Jack Miller was out during the week as well, and he's like Satan, and like he's bang on with this. He's like, it scares me to know how dominant Marc Marquez can be when he's comfortable. And he was going through Aragon, which I still find was probably one of the most weirdest race weekends ever. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there was something that he did that was other. Like we always talk about, if you're into Formula One, everyone always talks about Ayrton Senna in Monaco, and he's talking about an outer body experience of when he was driving. So he was like, I was already 3 or 4 corners ahead. I knew it was just. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't in the car driving the track. I was over the car, sort of thing. Did you get me?
Yeah.
And he was I think he lapped nearly everyone up to third place. He was just, I don't know. He lapped a lot of people anyway. I don't know what place it was, but it was just one of those things. And going back to Marquez in Aragon, he was just different league. And what Miller was kind of referencing is that if Marc gets into the Ducati team and becomes comfortable, that's when he's the most dangerous. So I mean, not when he's right on the ragged edge, because when he's comfortable, he can go further to that edge, if you know what I mean. So it was just a really really good action insight from Jack. Was this like, don't be looking for Marc when he's pushing. Do you know what I mean? Look for him when he's comfortable to see exactly what is going on with him. Do you know? I thought it was good little bit of an insight into watching Marc in the upcoming test. Because, like, as we mentioned, we're with boats 2 weeks away from the tests, which will be interesting to say the least. One of the things I do also think is, like, how is Agora going to get on? And I was trying to do a video about it, but I still just like you just don't know whether he's going to be hit or miss. Like I have an awful Raul Fernandez feeling about him. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's just something I can't shake away. It's like, of all the riders out there, is that the best idea for Trackhouse to bring up?
Yeah.
Is Aprilia behind this?
Yeah. I can see Trackhouse screwing up because they're brand new, but I can't see what Aprilia got going, hey, yo, Trackhouse, come here. No.
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah, and I just find it very
well,
Yeah, I just find it very, very weird, and I'm just kind of like, now the only thing I'm really happy about is that there's definitely going to be a good battle for Rookie of the Year this year. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to go all Pedro Acosta had to do was get halfway through the championship last year. So, but yeah, it was just kind of sitting there, and I was like thinking, like, is that the smartest move, especially because they're a satellite team. And speaking of satellite teams, right? Alex Marquez, I think it could be something in the translation, right, between our English and Spanish, or Spanish and English. But he mentioned recently, and he did a video where he's like, Joe, I have a duty to be better and to outscore the rookie and all of this. And I sat there when I was reading this, and I was just like, and he's like, oh, the team told me, that I have to bring home the points. I bear the responsibility, which I guess to a point of like, okay, when things start off, you're the number one rider, there's a certain thing, right? What if this fucking Aldeguer, right, who did okay at the start of last season, Moto 3, kind of tapered off, to be fair. What if he comes in and blows the fucking doors off Alex Marquez? Right. So, like, if he does an Acosta, right? He comes in, kicks the doors in, right? Kicks the doors off the hinges, shines like a diamond in a goat's ass, right?
Right.
Marquez just looks fucking stupid. Do you know what I mean? So much for being fucking team leader, do you know what I mean? And now you're fucking water boy.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm always, I would always be very conscious of writing or saying things like this about an unknown, right? Because this guy is unknown. Like if you could look at, say, for example, Binder knows Acosta is a force to be reckoned with, right? And he can talk about it, and he can say, listen, I've been in the factory team, do you know what I mean? I know what I can do. I've beaten him on track, same equipment. I know what I'm doing. Whereas this young fella coming in is a complete unknown. Do you know what I mean? You're turning around saying, yeah, well, it's my job to be this, and I must do this, and I'll try. And you're like, oh, crap.
I think he's assuming that because it's coming in as a rookie or rookie-ish, that he's going to take him.
Yeah, well, we all know about assuming, don't we?
Yes, that's right.
And it's just like it's not. And I kind of think the point is what I'm trying to make is like when we look at the last few rookies that have come up, majority of them have given their stablemate, who is an existing rider, a bit of a challenge. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've come up and went, "Oh, I'll take out the dummy out of my mouth now," and hey, I'm a toddler now. Do you know what I mean? Like these guys are fucking ready. Like they know, they understand the data.
They've been doing this since they're kids.
Exactly. Do you know, they're. But even the breed from, like, go back 5 years ago, the amount that these guys have come on, do you know what I mean? Compared to a rider jumping from MotoGP or from Moto 2 into MotoGP, the amount of understanding, learning, do you know what I mean? It's a different level. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of like sitting there and I'm just like going, it's a big fucking check to write, kid. Do you know what I mean? You might get lucky and win the lottery, do you know what I mean? But if he comes in and fucking shines like a diamond in a goat's ass, you then look like a very ordinary fucking rider. Do you know what I mean? Your stock level goes. Do you know what I mean? And 73 mightn't be on that fucking bike next year.
Yeah, I think it would behoove him to stay quiet until he sees the landscape.
See his speed. Do you know what I mean? Like apples to apples. Like what he's seen is him on his first test day. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see him on one test day. That's not the.
Nope. You know. Yeah, and
if it's kind of Marc Marquez on his first test day, that doesn't mean he's gonna,
exactly
tear up the race bike.
Yeah, and one of the things there, and one of the things there as well, and I do want to touch base with as well, is that in the British Grand Prix weekend, there was a thing on, I believe it was on the Thursday, which was called the Day of Champions. And what the Day of Champions was that MotoGP riders would put up some stuff for auction, raise money for people that were injured in motorcycle accidents or this, that, and the other. And it was a really, really good cause, but apparently that is gone for 2025. And Silverstone apparently have changed the format. Apparently, the Day of Champions is now gone due to a new schedule that has been introduced by Silverstone. What it is, I don't know, but like Two Wheels for Life said, that it's talking with Dornet to see if they can get anything else done. But look, it was actually Randy Mamola and Kenny Roberts came up with the idea of giving fans opportunities to get up close to their riders and stuff like that. Like, it was a brilliant, brilliant thing. A lot of money raised for really good motorbike causes and stuff like that. And it's just, it made the British Grand Prix unique. And hopefully, if Silverstone are doing something better, great, to help the charities or whatnot. But what it looks like with Riders for Life, they're in talks with Dorna about trying to do something else, which means is that they're Silverstone are maybe doing something different for a different charity or whatnot. I don't know. And look, I think very much so boo on Silverstone. It was a great charity, great cause. I do know a good few people that have been to it.
I have a feeling lawyers got their fingers in there somewhere along the line.
Maybe so, but
it has that sound. Don't you get it?
It had there's a smell of shit off it, all right. Do you know what I mean? And anything that takes away opportunity.
You take away a helmet, because if somebody takes that helmet, then they crash, and then the Silverstone's liable. They didn't check the helmet before they gave it away. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I do. But look, I also believe there's the goodwill clause and all of that. But anyway, I suppose the other thing we will talk about, the only new bike to hit the ground this week. no matter what you see on the clickbait sites, was Marc Marquez. He was out on the new V2.
So he wasn't out of the V4, the new V4.
No, he was out in the V2. He was on the
I heard he was on the V4. I heard he was on the V4 too. Okay.
No, apparently it was just a V2S with the 890cc engine in it. And according to thing, he broke the existing lap record time on it, but obviously it can't be confirmed. But let's just be fair, right? Like this was a publicity stunt. Mm-hmm. Like Davide Tardazzi was also at the track. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, here, hi Mark, here's the Ducati as your test bike. Go test it. Like this was a media thing. So, we can see a lot of the media things. They're not necessarily structured media things anymore. Do you know what I mean? They're like
on the fly.
They're on the fly. They're going out and they don't give interviews, but they'll put something out on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Hi, we're at the track. Dickhead. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. So look, it was interesting because when I saw the pictures, I was like, geez, that looks a little bit different. Do you know what I mean? And then I just thought maybe it's just me. But then the story did come out that he was actually on the he did how to say it was the new version. Talking about Honda actually there a while ago, I think they're all after taking fucking brave pills in Honda. You know, we had Mir there and Marini. Now we have Bradle and he's just coming out and he's like, you know, realistically more direct communication is needed. And like I'm already worried for Honda for this season. Do you know what I mean? Like
oh yeah.
Zarco tried to backtrack on his comments there recently.
Huh? Mm-hmm. You know, it seems like the season's written off already.
Yeah, well, like Zarco came out the middle of last year and said the bike's DNA is completely wrong. Then they said that the bike was going to be an evolution, not a revolution. Then Zarco came out and said, "Oh, during the Suzuka 8 hours, you know, I realized some stuff that maybe was in my head." And you're like, going, "No, you're all towards the fucking back, lad. You know, you know, it's not in your head; it's in the bike. Like, do you know what I mean?
Evolution's fine when you're up top, okay?
Yeah. Ducati can then evolve, right? Yeah. A good fuel for the rest of them shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it is, for me, it's pretty worrying. But they all seem to be taking a few brave pills because they've all kind of come out and kind of said this, and they've all said the bike isn't working. Pooch said, you know, we're working on it. you know, and like you always know that there's a serious.
He should have a little tape recorder thing. We're working on it.
yeah. But saying that, right? I know what people think Pooch is a dickhead, right? But like, who do you replace Pooch with? You can't.
They're the mouthpiece. I've been telling people that for years.
Yeah,
another guy's going to say the same thing. He's just a corporate mouthpiece.
Yeah, and until such, in my view, until such time that Honda want to get serious about racing and start getting and bringing in a European ethos into it, it's never going to change. Do you know what I mean? Like, they can even have a fucking 2-year head start, which technically is what they have with the concessions, right?
Yep.
And you know, I would think probably within 2 races they'd be fucking behind. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's beyond my comprehension that they have 2 years, like I said, 2 years head start, and they're still floundering.
Yeah. Now look, Yamaha while they have made strides, they're in the same boat. You know what I mean? Like, but they have hired very key people into very key areas, which you have to take your hat off and say, okay, but you know, it does pain me to see the Japanese that far behind, because I want to see bikes racing. I don't want to see a single order thing, and I don't want to see people. I don't want to see 4, 5, 6 Ducatis all in the front.
Yeah, but there's I differ on that. I like to see him up there too, but I don't want to have him up there by taking away from the European companies. I don't want to bring the European companies down.
But I never said that I didn't agree with the concessions, because I don't, right?
Right.
But they're in now, right? And you're playing the cards you're dealt. Like realistically, like we talked about KTM there, right? Earlier on, right? Like they're not going to evolve much over the course of 2025.
No.
Probably not. Maybe in 2026 they might get a bit of funding or whatnot. You know, Aprilia, realistically, Aprilia last year in 2024, I think they scored like 14, maybe 40 points. Mm-hmm. They scored 40 points more than the minimum that will put them into Group D.
Yeah.
In concessions, that they'd have open concessions the same as Honda and Yamaha. You know, like I can see KTM going that way this year. You know, and what that means, unfortunately, is like if KTM don't develop, that's more Ducatis towards the front.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If Martin and Bezzecchi, which Bezzecchi is hit and miss, right? He's either on it or he's well off it. Martin should be thereabouts, right? But what we could end up with is 8 bikes and fucking 6 Ducatis, you know? So I don't want to see that racing. And like, as I've been very, very open with, I stopped watching World Superbikes when Bautista was running. Not because I didn't really like Bautista, but I just have no interest in watching second place, a race for second place. You know, and okay, stop wreck. You know, I watched a couple of the races, then he started pissing off, and I got lost fucking interest again. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like, I'm there to watch a race. I love watching races for first place, not second place. Unless it's a real fucking shoulders out and whatnot. But look, anyway, regardless of whether I like it or whether I don't, like, I'm kind of worried about Honda, Yamaha, KTM, and like I'm really genuinely hoping that Aprilia have a decent year this year, because last year was just...
It's a possible upturn for them. Is one, they're getting a better rider, and two, hopefully they straighten out their team tactics or team runnings. I mean, with these dopey screw ups they have in the pit screw ups, you know. You know, like, you know, I have a bad switch here to think that the ride height jumps up and down. You know, like, you know.
Yeah, look,
crap like that.
You have that true.
It's happened more than once. The thing is,
yeah, and look, I suppose that's where they need to get their... I suppose their update or their shit together is like they now have a world champion on board.
Yeah, you can't have that tire that they forgot to put the they forgot to tighten up the axle. Remember that one?
Yeah, it's more the operational decisions, I think, that that will cost them. Do you know what I mean? Because Martin, but then saying that, Martin, in my view, you know, he needs to be driving that on. Do you know what I mean? In the way of, like, you know, get in there and start that shit out. And at the end of the day, he's a world champion. You could see this, in my view, with Pecco. If you watch the behind the scenes one, where Pecco would make his decision when he's ready to make his decision. So they were trying to get it out of him, and then he's like, and they're like, "Oh well, we have to know right now because otherwise we won't have it done in time." And then he made his decision. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think Martin will probably need, and maybe will struggle at the start to kind of stamp his authority there on that, if you get me. But saying that, really, there's no excuse for not doing up a bolt or not giving it enough fuel or
that was the other one. I ran out of fuel. I was like, what the hell did you run that?
But look, I do think with Martin, I think he'll bring a little bit more harmony within the team.
I know. I think it'll bring a lot more drive. Like I think they're working 24/7 over there. I was surprised when they said they made a big jump because of the lack of money. But on the other side, I thought, well, they are going for the championship.
Well, you see, like you talk about lack of money, right? And I think this is one of Massimo Rivola's biggest failures is that he still hasn't signed a title sponsor.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. There has to be a title sponsor out there.
And there has to be. There absolutely has to be. And I think it's a massive failing that he still hasn't got it sorted. Do you know what I mean? He's there 3 years now?
Yeah, and their bikes are selling. It's not like they've had big upturns in sales, right?
Yeah.
So where the hell's
like the board are happy, and I remember Rivola saying that the board are happy with, but they do want him to find a sponsor, and he still hasn't found a sponsor. And then he's turning around and he's blaming Dorna and I don't know. I just think it's very, very, very weird that they don't have a title sponsor in, and Spanish champion in there. Surely one of the big Spanish companies would want their name plastered all over it if there's going to be a number one.
Yes. Reps, you know what I mean? Is Repsol on anything anymore?
No, but like it's a perfect example. Like you take Repsol, they left Honda because Honda weren't winning.
Right.
They jump over to Aprilia, right?
Right.
They win a race. You know what I mean? They give you the fuck you to Honda, like saying, "Listen, look, it's not our product; it's your product." Now I know, for example, I think Aprilia were somewhat sponsored by Castrol, but if Castrol are gone to
going to Honda, right?
Then now I don't know whether that was a sponsorship or a technical partnership, if you get me. So it'll be interesting. But look, this time next week, Chicky Poo, I'll be pretty excited that we'll only be a week away from testing and all a bit of bikes back on the track. So it's the 31st to the 2nd. I don't even know. Is that on MotoGP?
The
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
The testing. I don't think the testing is no.
All right. Yeah. It's a pretty it's a balls. It really is a balls. Like if you look at the coverage of Formula One, every day of testing is covered. Do you know what I mean? You can see it, see what's going on. Not a lot goes on. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't. But again, there's these people that would be happy to sit down and have it on in the background. Like for me, if I was working away, I'd have it on in the background, listen away. Kind of just seems a little bit of an own goal, but maybe that'll change. If this fucking acquisition
.com is an odd thing. Like I got the subscription, right? They don't let you buy it ahead of time. Like there's really stalling on buying it. World Superbike, I thought I bought it, and then it said, "Oh no, sorry, here's your money back. We didn't buy it yet. It's too early." Like, who the hell ever heard of that?
Dickheads. Yeah. And it is one of the weird things with them. I still haven't heard actually who's taking over from Crafar. Have you heard?
No, I've heard it's a mystery, man.
Hmm. Who would you like to take over from Crafar? Which one of the current reporters?
Yeah, that's a tough one. God, I can see his face, but I can't see his name. I can't see who. I'd like to see a guy. I don't know the names, but I can tell the voice.
I have two. I have two that I would like to see there. One would be Sylvain Gintoli, former
Really?
test. Yeah.
I never thought of much of him, but anyhow.
He actually is a test rider for BMW. Was test rider for Suzuki. He does the analysis on BT Sport, and he's really good. You know, like he's so funny. He's a real rider. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
the lads be talking about battling and whatever, and he'd be talking around about like, well, first opening laps, got to activate the tires. You know, like it's like
Yeah.
you're kind of, it's kind of funny. He's talking like he's on the bike. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
He's like I have to don't bother braking late until you activate the tires and all of this.
Yeah.
Or the other one would be Michael Laverty.
I can see Laverty. Yeah, I can see Laverty.
You know, he has the little old Irish accent sort of thing going on. I think he actually races under the British flag. Well, I know we'll say nothing about that.
Three guys that just came up with their new podcast, and I can't remember the names, but there's that new podcast that came out, new MotoGP. So yeah, um, you see, they're all old timers, and one young guy, and the young guy I think would be great. But anyhow, Rob something or other.
All right, I have no idea. Yeah, you watch a lot of YouTube. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. But yeah, because like it's getting close, and we don't know who's going to go there. And this guy or whoever takes over. So I shouldn't just presume that it's going to be a man. This person that takes over, I would definitely, you know, they need to be in depth. They need to like. I hope it's not just going to be someone else from the crew that was a fucking B-roll guy or something like that. You know?
I just don't want it to be which one is the
Jack Appleyard.
Huh?
Jack
No,
Appleyard.
No, the guy from OMG, the old guy.
Keith Ewan?
Keith Ewan.
I don't think Keith would be traveling around. Yeah.
No, I don't want him. He's so his views go back and forth, hot and cold, so much. It's almost like he's scared to death. The whole
he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy to have a pint with.
Yeah. But I can see that, right? But he won't hang his nuts out when he thinks.
Yeah. Well, look, I suppose that's that. Look,
you would make a good.
I say and too much, and I'm too fat for TV. So
yeah, total. Yeah, we're both in the same boat. I'm just
and I let out the occasional F-bomb or call someone.
Oh yeah. We never make that.
But look, I suppose look there. That's where we see where we're different, right? Like we're outside the net of MotoGP. While we talk about it every day and all of this, you know, Dorn have never come knocking on our doors, right? And probably will never come knocking on our doors because we speak our mind, you know. And I'll sleep an awful lot easier speaking my mind. Yeah. And listen, you know,
but that's what's that's what got out our members too. Don't forget.
Yeah. But look, it's again, the ethos of the channel, as I've always said, it's not about being uber professional. It's not about towing the political party line of, you know, if it's on your mind, like, listen, go to a football match or a soccer match, as you call it over there, right? In England, right? And I actually, just something. Whoever is watching this, right, go and search on YouTube after this and search, you know, UK fans versus US fans at a football match, right? the UK ones, or sorry, the US ones are always like, let's go win, all this shit, right? Then the UK ones are like, you fat bastard, you fat bastard. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, it's, while it can get pretty hot and heavy for people, you know, the footballers are now kind of thinking it's actually part of the atmosphere. Do you know what I mean? Or like when someone, like when the goalkeeper is about to take a kick out, right? For example, the whole crowd will start going, oh, and then he'll kick the ball, and then they'll be like, you fat bastard. You know what I mean? And that's it. Like, and it's not calling him a fat bastard. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's meant as tongue in cheek, let's just say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, if anyone then was actually giving it to someone and they were out of line, you know, they get a slap. Like, do you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, and look, I suppose the other side of the coin, it's very different as well.
For now, here, the only thing I've seen close to that was "Let's Go Brandon," which was "Fuck You, Biden." It was supposed to be the
one.
Remember that? That was the closest thing we ever had. We would do things more PC.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose it's different as well, is that when, and as I mentioned, right, Dorna are not inviting us to any races. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure a couple of the MotoGP riders, if we ever didn't happen to meet face to face, would ask us some serious questions about our comments about them, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm the sort of person. Well, that's what I was thinking at the time, man. Sorry about that. Like, if you got offended, well, then by a fucking.
Yeah, Honda would shoot us. You know what I mean? Honda would be.
Oh my God! I don't know how I am still alive.
Why do you say that? Because it's true, and it was true 2 years ago. It was true.
I am so surprised that Honda haven't sent me over a free car that will explode. That's it.
Yeah, we picked that out ages ago.
Yeah.
Hide behind the rider. What do you mean? We not hide behind. Yes, you are. Who you kidding?
Yeah. And yeah, look, it is one of those things, you know. Once their super alien is gone, you're in shit.
Yeah.
And you don't listen, and you think he can do it. He can solve it, like the whole way in. And look, it's not. It's that type of culture is not. Is nothing new. Like I spent.
I spent going on forever.
I spent time.
Honda had that back with Halewood in the 50s.
I remember. This is no word of a lie. I went to Beijing. I spent a couple of months in Beijing teaching these students something to do with one of the jobs that I had, right? And I remember when I walked in, there was another Irish fellow that was delivering training, and I arrived maybe 3 weeks after him. We were chatting away anyway, and I was like, I kind of went into the class. And firstly, actually, it was very funny because I walked into the classroom, and it was like I was the most uneducated person in the classroom. They all had like super mastered fucking degrees, and I was like, there's me with my fucking junior cert, leaving cert, and my apprenticeship, and you know, anyway, your man says to me, he said, "Oh, every morning I read out the questions that they ask." I was like, "Why don't they put up the fucking hand and ask a question?" Like, he's like, "Oh no, over here, you know, you lose face if you
ask a question."
If you ask a question, I was like, "Well, that's not going to fucking work anyway, is it?"
Right.
So. Like, I'm here teaching you this thing for fucking 3 months. Like, do you know what I mean? If you don't fucking ask me a question in fucking 3 months, like, I'm going to lose the fucking plot. Anyway,
yeah.
I brought this fucking coffee mug with me, right? And it had a particular thing of the location of the company that I worked from Ireland, right? And I watched for 2 or 3 days anyway, and your man would come in the morning and he'd read the fucking questions, and I was just like, nah, it's not going to. So anyway, as he was wrapping up to go away and go back to Ireland on the Friday, I made this thing up that it was the Cork Cup. So I said, over the next 2 months, whoever asks me this question, I was like, there's only one of these in China. There's only one. I was like, whoever asks me the most questions to do with work or what we're training on will get the cup at the end of it. And they were fucking like, I was like, yeah, it was just a change of mentality, right? But again, like they wouldn't admit that they didn't know something. They wouldn't admit that they did it wrong. They wouldn't admit, and it's grand. It's fine if you fuck up, right? But like, if you look at the way the Europeans are doing it in thing, the part fucking cracks, right? They duct tape it a little bit stronger. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or they're not afraid to fail in public.
Right.
Where the Japanese still are.
Yeah, a blown engine is part of racing. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah. It is. It's very much so. And it's something that we need to, I suppose, keep an eye on. With those, it's like, because I do want to see Honda and Yamaha get stronger. I would love to see.
But they need that. Even Honda, old man Honda, okay? When he came out, he said, I want my race team, my engineers, I want them to be European engineers. I want them to be Japanese engineers that think like European engineers. I want that innovation. I want them to have that fresh thinking outside the box. And that's the toughest thing to get to these people. You can't get them to pull it out of them. They're just not in their DNA. It's just, you know, they actually called him a racist. Can you believe that? They called him a racist on his own race.
Well, look, it's just one of those things, though. It's just like, anyway, you know, you can go round and round in circles. It's going to be very hard to get the Japanese to change the way they function.
Somebody had down that they're too prideful. Honda's too prideful. Yamaha, they're not too prideful. If Dorna gives them, or an FIM gives them any break whatsoever, they're sucking up in a heartbeat. They're not too prideful to take concessions or anything like that. That's fanboy crap.
It is and it's not, right. They're just by nature they're a very proud people, right? And they don't need something. Yeah. And then look, you know, Yamaha and Honda got the concessions. You know, others did get concessions as well. Let's not rule that out, right? So,
but the difference is humongous. I mean, getting a couple tires versus, you know, 2 years of, because people say, well, Ducati, I think Ducati ended up getting like 2 extra, when they got concessions, it was extra tires for 2 whole races. Ooh, that's not really considered, I wouldn't consider that getting concessions.
Yeah, but look, look, when they came in, they got concessions like everyone else was entitled to. And, you know, look, they got concessions because they didn't have any data. You know, and that's for me, that's fair though.
Yeah, but they got 9 podiums in the first year.
Yeah. But look,
they got blown out.
Oh yeah, but look, they naturally lost their concessions. So did Aprilia. Do you know what I mean? They naturally lost them, which meant that the system was working. Do you know what I mean? That they would.
Yeah, they're the 2 strongest engineering companies in MotoGP.
But no, but my point is that you came in, you got your concessions, and like realistically, right? Aprilia could have turned around to Leish and said, "Don't fucking win the race."
Yeah.
Don't fucking win it. Do you know what I mean?
I would have told him that.
Nuke the fucking engine. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you keep your concessions. But they didn't. Do you know what I mean? And they naturally engineer their way out of the concessions or for the need of them. But look, I don't know. It's just changing mentality is needed big time. And I don't know, is that going to happen? Like realistically, it doesn't look good.
Everyone told me I was nuts. I said, when this started, the Japanese, the Honda versus Yamaha, who's going to come out ahead? Yamaha and Honda. I said, well, Honda has all the money and they have their, you know, the history and all that bullshit. I said, no, Yamaha is going to come out ahead of Honda because they will go and get European engineers. And if they didn't.
But let's be clear, Yamaha are still fucking miles behind.
Yeah. Well, are they really that far behind? Christ, you keep hearing all these different.
They are okay. Look, they haven't properly turned the wheel of the V4. right?
Right.
They're getting stronger, but they're still out in 10th,
What do you
11th
mean
place.
they haven't turned the world of the V4? They're out track testing. Did you see the videos?
Oh, the fake videos.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The AI videos. Hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so look, these bikes are, and let's be fair, right? When we get to the stage of the tests, of course, look, the longer they leave it, the harder it's going to be. So I'm who've done better, Honda or Yamaha. It looks like Yamaha have done better on what we've seen from 2024, but realistically, that gap is getting bigger and bigger every year. It's not getting smaller. I can fucking tell you that now. Like, are you telling me that like Ducati are just going to go, let's not do anything for the next 2 years? They're not. They're not. Like, they're fucking away scheming. Let's tweak this. Let's do this. Let's get that. You know what I mean? Like, Gigi is the sort of person that will turn the bike upside fucking down if he believes there's enough reason to do it. Do you know what I mean? So he's never satisfied with, oh yeah, well look, we dominated. We have the two of the best riders on the grid as our factory riders.
With Honda having an Evolution engine and Yamaha, it's kind of in the same boat as you're saying that playing catch up. It's more and more looking like they're going to hit 2027. If Ducati does have something up its sleeve, they're going to win into the 2030s. You know what I mean?
So for me, where I think where this is like, I think this is the last. This is the last 25 is the last full year of development of the GP 1000cc.
Yeah,
and I think,
which is a damn shame.
But I think,
change it back. I told you this is your biggest screw up.
But I think, you know, I would expect Ducati to be hitting that ground running on that 850. I would I would be shocked if GG went the complete wrong direction on it.
Well, that is the risk of hitting the ground running. When you hit the ground running, you either go if you go the wrong direction.
Yeah. But look, realistically, if they're within a couple of seconds of the main, of the current bikes around a couple of circuits, they'll know they're in the ballpark. Do you know what I mean?
Look at Ducati when Ducati came into MotoGP, the strongest engineer with the strongest engineering, but they went the wrong direction with that carbon fiber perimeter frame. And that really screwed them. Can you imagine if they had came in and went, oh, let's go, it's wrong, let's go right away and go into the classic aluminum perimeter frame? That they would have been dominated.
But I think that's what cost your man his job. Do you know what I mean? And why they went and sourced Gigi. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It is.
They couldn't. We couldn't get it going. So look, I do think it's pretty interesting. But look, I would expect Gigi and the boys to be Gigi and the boys to be well ahead when the 850 hits the ground. And of course,
the BMW is going to come lancing in. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it.
I wouldn't doubt it, but if noises aren't being heard in the next 4 to 6 months, they won't be there for the 2027 season's kickoff. Like realistically, they'll need 2 years, and I know they bought some of Suzuki's data, and look, data is always helpful, right? Regardless of whether it's this, that, and the other, and maybe it's to understand some of the forces that are going on within the chassis and all of this stuff, right? Which can help, right? But to design and build a bike to MotoGP standard is more than 2 years project.
And for those people who think that the Suzuki had this great handling bike, they did until the Suzuki upped their power. When Suzuki upped their power, their handling went to shit just like it did on the Yamaha. That was the problem with that. Remember?
You can go fast, but you can't turn.
Yeah.
You can't go fast and you can turn like on the dime.
Right.
It's
Suzuki
one
didn't have anything. Suzuki did not have anything over Yamaha. This big revelation, and then just shut the doors. You know.
Yeah. And look, a prime example of that is wet and dry weather, right? You soften off the power on the thing. The bike handles really well. You're not putting the forces through it. It's okay. It's fine. It's dry. You're giving it all its horsepower, and she's fucking all over the place. So, sometimes, less power is actually helpful. Because it aids your handling. But anyway, on that bombshell, we will end today's one. And it's nearly time for the pub, Jake.
It's
been a long
There's
weekend.
A little clock on your forehead. You know what I mean? It's starting to flash like Ultraman. You know what I mean?
It's like, alcohol needed. Yeah, alcohol needed. Yeah, it's like the diabetics have their alarm for when their sugar levels go low. My alcohol level is going low, so I need to get
Ultraman.
Yeah, well, I've been working all weekend now, so I haven't had a pint. So I think I should go and see the old bartender to make sure that he's fine and that his mental health is thing, and community service. Let's just call it community service.
Do pubs actually ever shut down? I mean, do they actually ever close? Like go out of business just for being there for so many years?
They do, yeah. Look, like the pub industry here in Ireland is not what it once was. Do you know what I mean? I'm very lucky. I have a pub that's 96 steps away from my front door, sober.
You counted it, 96. You counted
it. Yeah. No, I've only ever counted on the
way.
Yeah. I've never counted on the way back, I must admit. It's always going over. But it's 96 steps from my.
On the way back, it's 2004.
I do know there's 4 separate ditches. But no, it's okay. But yeah, listen, it's a fine little pub. There's no fucking messing. You can go in and play your darts, sit down by the fire, open fire, and roast the arse off yourself if you want to sit in the bar and talk to the bar person. Great, But there's a lot of pubs have shut down in Ireland now. Like the price of a pint is just fucking outrageous. Actually, it's fucking outrageous. So it can range anywhere between €5 and €7.
Yeah,
so $5 and $7, which is pretty shit. Like, because I remember going drinking. I remember you go drinking on 20 quid.
Yeah,
and that wasn't that long ago either. Like, what I mean? But like 20 quid, 6-7 pints on that. You know what I mean? But nowadays, I think I went myself and my young fellow went to the pub there. I bring him over there to watch a couple of soccer matches, and went up and I got a pint, a Fanta or whatever, and I got 2 packets of chips, crisps. If you're Irish or English, crisps. If you're Yankee Doodles, chips. And it was like €13 something. It was like, fucking bastards. Like, did I ever tell you this? Actually, I went to a place called Farmington, Missouri. Shout out to anyone there. And when I arrived, I was jet lagged. I was really, really tired, and I sat down in a bar. And I said to this one, and she was like, "So show the way the American waiters and waitresses are over nice so that they get a tip." Do you know what I mean? Like Ireland would just be fucking cringe, right? Anyway, so I just like, could I get a pint of beer, obviously, first? Do you know what I mean? Before any, and could I get a burger and chips? And I thought nothing of it. And the beer came down. I was supping away in the beer and happy out. And next minute down came a burger and potato chips, as in crisps.
Yeah.
And I just looked at your one and I was like, all right, just say nothing. Just fucking say nothing. Just say nothing. And she's like, are you okay with your chips? I was like, yeah. And she's like, did you mean French fries? I was just like, Well, fucking obviously, love. Do you know what I mean? Like, what dickhead comes in and orders a burger and chips? Do you know what I mean?
Potato chips. Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me get you some French fries. And I was like, yeah. So anyway, one of those things that many.
Yeah, McDonald's doesn't have hamburgers with potato chips next to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it was just one of those funny moments. Anyway, and on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see everyone again next week. Have a good, safe week, and we're 1 week closer to testing.
Yes. One day, hopefully, I'll get out the bike, and this weather will stop from being 20 degrees outside.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, bring on the rain. Have a good one.
See you, bud.